Your feet. It's something we don't think a lot about. You probably don't look at the world or your life from the perspective of your feet, but they are a pretty important part because without them, I couldn't do most of the things I do. So what you do with them and how you take care of them is pretty important to me. I have mentioned this in other videos over the years, and you've seen various footwear I have, but today I've got a totally brand new pair of shoes to show you. These guys. These are Xero shoes. Right off the bat, I want to say I was given this pair of shoes for free. This is the only time you guys have ever seen such a thing on this channel. The only reason I accepted these to review, because these are brand new, is because Xero Shoes is a company I really love what they do. I have been buying their shoes, or their footwear, since before they made shoes. I bought their footwear back when all they made was soles with laces to lace up your own sandals, and I didn't like the round laces, and so I took webbing and made my own sandals with their soles. Then they started actually making sandals with webbing, so I bought those. Then years later they started making shoes, so then I bought those, and these are brand new, a brand new model they've just come out with, and I really, really like them. This is actually my homemade sandals. They're made much like a, say, Chaco style or whatever you might think of webbing sandal. This was my first pair I made from Xero Shoes. They're very, very well worn now. This was a different sole material they had at that point, but you can see that I've pretty close to, it was thin to start with, but I've pretty close to walk through them. I still take these on backpacking trips because they are so small and lightweight, that's both of them together, to roll up and have along as a backup shoe, or if I need something to just run around camp in while my other hiking shoes dry out for the night or whatever, I still use these. And boy, it's been probably, I made these before I moved into the tiny house here, so 9 or 10 years, I believe, since I made these. Then they started making their own. See how similar this looks like to what I made, except with a little stiffer webbing, and they have different sole models. There's dirt in all my shoes because I actually wear these things, but that's a little grippier sole, and again, it lets your foot move naturally. I wear these a lot in the summer. You've seen them in many videos just in this past summer alone. Then they started making shoes. So this was, I believe, the first pair of those that I bought. They are now pretty close to worn out. They are blowing through at the sides. They are starting to come apart here. They're blowing apart here. I've had these for years, and I first wore them as my, you know, go to town, hang out with friends, do stuff, you know, like that, which I now have a new pair that are now in that routine. And then they got worn out enough that all I use them for is barn chores and gardening and wood splitting and so on, but I still wear them. One of these days I'm going to have to actually let them go the whole way because they're going to come the rest of the way apart, but I have got a lot of life out of these. And this is just a slightly different color that they then had available of basically the same shoes. You can see how these are not quite as, and they're dirty too, not quite as grippy as the like mountain bike kind of tread, but these are still great. I run errands, you know, to town, to go to the post office, ride my bike if I go to the grocery store on that, you know, use them for all that kind of stuff, and one day they're going to look like these. So, as you can see, I've been using footwear from this company for a very long time. So, if you're wondering, yes, they gave me this pair for free to review before they were available to the general public. This is the only time on this entire channel I've accepted such an offer. I get requests every single day, folks, from people who are like, we have this new thingamajig we want to sell to people. We will give you one and I get you to review it and pay you X many dollars, usually more than I make in a month, sometimes more than I make in several months, if you will make this video about it and share it with your subscribers. Almost all the time, these thingamajiggets are things I cannot imagine being useful to anyone, and I don't do that. When this offer became available to review new pairs of shoes for them and test them out and be a tester, I thought this was awesome because, like I said, this is a company I really like what they do. I've been supporting them and their work since before they ever made actual shoes, since before they even made sandals, back when all they sold was soles to make your own. So, get that out of the way, and I really, really love these shoes. Years ago as a little child, when I learned about how arches work, when you make a bridge, there's a lot of old stone arch bridges in Pennsylvania where I grew up. You make a bridge, the reason the arch works is because it's not steady at all until you put that capstone in the middle, and then no amount of weight basically from the top pushing down of horse and buggies or automobiles or trucks or whatever can crush that arch, because that's a very strong shape. There's a reason this part of your foot is called having an arch. It does the same thing. It can take an incredible amount of impact from above, which I do to my feet all day as I work around our homestead or go for a hike in the mountains or all those kinds of things. And here's just a glimpse of a few adventures I've been on in the past years with one pair or another of Xero shoes on my feet. You don't really notice them, but they let me just keep doing the things I want to do. What never made sense to me was arch support. Do you know how you break an arch on a bridge? Push up on it from the bottom. That's how you break it. You can't break it. There may be some out that can, but it's very, very strong coming down from the top. So arch support in footwear that pushed up on the bottom of your foot never made any sense to me at all. And I've spent the majority of my life running around either actually barefoot. Yes, that is a very young me, and as you can see from a lot of the photos that my mother took when I was little, I pretty much ran around with nothing on my feet all the time. Which is wonderful for lots of reasons, or needing some minimal kind of protection from either the elements, either it's way below freezing outside, or, you know, the ground is snow covered, or there's sharp things that would cut my feet, etc. But all I want is a minimal protection. This has been something humans have done for most of history, as near as I can tell. Your feet do their job, but if something is too hot, or too cold, or too sharp, or too rough, people have worn leather moccasins, fur boots, leather sandals. All of these let your feet still work in the normal way that they feel the world and balance and all of those things, but give you some protection. Now we have these cushy sneakers, trainer shoes style things, and we have an epidemic, as near as I can tell, of foot problems. Anyway, I'm not going to get deeply into that. If you're interested in knowing more about how feet work and the benefits of letting them move in their natural ways, not putting them in a cast, I highly encourage you to look them up. There's lots of great info out there. But these shoes are lovely. They are flexible. They're also slightly muddy, and that is because this is the real world, and I actually was wearing them all morning, and it's muddy outside. They're lightweight, they collapse like that, they're very flexible. All that sole is doing, and it's pretty grippy, if you can see that tread, it looks kind of like a mountain bike tire. That's what I think of when I see that. It's got a good bit of grip for giving you traction on ice or climbing on a mountain. They also make shoes with a slightly less grippy tread if you're just on smooth surfaces, and I had some of those too before they came out with this. And the uppers is just enough material basically to hold them on your foot. If you're hiking, I love that they're not waterproof. I think they make some waterproof models. These are not. That's perfect for me because I am always going to hike through streams and wet stuff, and if you get water inside a waterproof shoe, it's going to be wet for a really long time. If you hike in water with something like this, it's going to just get you wet and then dry again, which I much, much prefer. I've been hiking with non-waterproof shoes for all the years I've ever been hiking. Anyway, but what I mostly do these days is wear these around the homestead, which is why there's some mud on the bottom. And you probably never noticed them. I've actually been wearing them for several months as I tested them out. They've been in all kinds of videos, and you never noticed. Now, part of that's because they're a nice solid black shoe. I tend to wear mostly more solid colors in general, especially in something like a shoe where I'm going to wear it with all kinds of clothes and all times of year and so on. They do make lots of bright colors if you're one of those people who's into that. I'm not. But you probably never noticed. But I couldn't do any of the things that I do around the homestead without my feet working. So, if you're interested in that kind of thing, I once had a coach at a gym when I mentioned liking to lift barefoot, and I mean truly barefoot, not even with shoes on, because I felt like my balance was better. He was kind of like, oh, I've heard of that. That was a trend for a few years, and I was thinking, trend for a few years. I think people have been working with their feet for, without them being in some kind of cast type shoe for quite a few thousand years. It's okay, a trend for a few years. Anyway, I still run around barefoot whenever I can, but when there's times when it's too icy or too cold or too snowy, or like we've been cleaning up this property we live on now, and there is lots of little metal shards and broken glass and stuff like that. A lot less than there was, but we're still cleaning that up. So when I need some protection, something like this is awesome. And again, this Xero Shoes is a company I really, really like. They just make a product that's very, very useful to me. I wear them for years and years. You've seen some other videos where I've got very, very worn out pairs that are pretty much gone, worn through the soles, worn through the sides. That's because I keep wearing them until they are worn the whole way out. But I really like their new shoes here, and if you just want a practical, lightweight, that's the other thing. You don't notice them because you don't tend to see them actually or think about what I'm wearing when I do it, but they're also super lightweight. They only weigh a few ounces, and occasionally I do have to wear muck boots because I'm doing something in water where I don't want to get wet, but they're so heavy, any kind of mud boot, rain boot like that, and I just much prefer to run around with something like this on my feet, and that's what I do most of the year. So I highly encourage you to check them out. I am also a Xero Shoes affiliate, which means if you go buy a shoe or a sandal or your own soles to make your own or any of that stuff through my link, they will pay me, I think it's a 10% commission on whatever your order total is for referring you. So that is a full disclosure of what works there. I only recommend on this channel or my blog or anywhere else products that I actually like and have used for years. I do not take offers from any of the companies who offer me money just to promote their products, just as a way to make income. It's fine if you do that. That's just not my thing. What I like to recommend is stuff that I have been using for many, many years and really, really value and like. And despite this particular model of shoe being new, I have been wearing these for 3 months now for a whole lot of things. I've gone hiking in the mountains, I've gone gardening, I've gone, chicken caretaking, splitting firewood, all that stuff, and I really like them. I believe I'll be buying more pairs. There's something I recommend you check out. And yeah, it's a little info about if you're another corporation and you want me to do a review of your products, there's no use in asking unless they're a product I've already been using for a very long time. I was even once offered more money than I make in a year to remove a review. If you guys have been watching videos here for a while, you can probably guess which one would have amounted to that amount. And I was like, that's not fair. My review is an honest, one of our experience, and if I just take that down because you're offering me money, that's not fair to people watching it. Anyway, I don't usually go into all that stuff, but I really like these Xero shoes, and I've got many pairs of them, and I highly recommend you check them out. I like what they do. So, they sell all these styles. You can check out their website. I'll have it linked down below and in the comments. And like I said, they will pay me a little commission, which will help with the bills around here on our little homestead if you buy something through one of these links. It doesn't cost you a thing, just is a reward to me for recommending them. Since I've been recommending these shoes since before they ever offered to reward me, this is works just fine for me. So check them out. I think you might like them.
We hope you enjoyed it.
Come back next time for more adventures.
Thanks for watching.